Hello everyone. Welcome again to the Innovation Hub live session. So, welcome. Our today's topic is Introduction to Electronics Development Board. So, first of all, I'll just give you the brief. I'll just give you the brief of the last session, what we discussed, what we had in the last session. So, hope you all enjoyed our last session. So, last session is all about introduction to basic of electronics. We discussed about the electronics, what is basic components of electronics we used like resistors, capacitor. We discussed about resistors, capacitors, and all batteries, how to make a circuit. We discussed about an online simulator called Tinkercad. So we made some small projects also using LEDs, batteries, and all. So hope you all guys used Tinkercad, log in the Tinkercad. As I told you earlier, I have given the link also for the process of how to log in to the Tinkercad. Now, let's start our today's Let's start our today's session. It's all about introduction to electronics development board. So first of all, what actually we are going to be discussed on this session is first thing is what is development board. The next one is how brain works. So first we'll discuss development board, about the electronics development board, how we develop this board or what are the actual use of these boards. The next we'll see how brain works, like our human brain, or you can call this electronics brain, or you can call this robot brains and all. The next thing is types of electronics development boards will use. What are the names? What are the actually use of that board? Where we use that board? So that things we'll discuss in the third point. And the last point is introduction to Arduino UNO hardware with activity using the online simulator same as Tinkercad. So Arduino UNO is also a electronics development board. I'll give you the whole description about or the whole information about Arduino UNO in our upcoming session. So let's start with the first topic. Before, as you know, every time start with the good thought. So what is actually what the thoughts today's thought says? The beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. So always learn the new thing. So let's start learning with this thought. So first thing, how brain works. So first of all, I'll just give you brief about what is actually a development board. So what is actually a development board? So development board is called as you can call as the controller type, or you can call it as the microcontroller. Have you heard about the microcontroller or and the microprocessor? So the one thing remember, if you have any doubt in any point of the topic, you can just write it down your doubts in the comment section. Okay. So first thing is a microcontroller and the microprocessor. So what is actually things a microcontroller and microprocessor? I'll just give you the brief about the microprocessor and the microcontroller. So example of microcontroller, a microprocessor is your central processing unit. That is you can call as CPU. Your computer, your PC, your personal computer is a microprocessor where you can connect all the peripherals separately. You can see your hard drive, your peripherals like your USB port, your earphone jack and all. So you can connect all the things separately, but in the microcontroller is a separate IC thing. It's an integrated chip where you can see the everything's are going to be smaller. First of all, we used like supercomputer. Now you're using tablets and phones and the iPods and all. So That's are possible because of the ICs and the microcontrollers. So this is actually a development boards where we use for the controlling the everything we are going to be. The next thing is how brain works, or what actually the process of the brain. For example, if I'm asking you how your brain works, how you do any task. So in the basic word, your brain is made up of networks of small cells called as neurons. Okay, so that communicate electrochemically to enable you to think, feel, and interact with the world around you. So this is how your brain works. It gives you the power to think, feel, and interact with the world around you, because the electric charges that are responsible for the brain activity, electrically stimulation can in turn be used to change the brain function. So see, just try to understand the process of your brain, like normal your human brain. For example, if you want to go anywhere, how you'll go? First thing, first of all, you start thinking about that thing. You started thinking, I have to go for a shopping. The next thing, can feel that things. Then you can interact. You stand, you walk, or you drive the car. So this is how you react the things, or this is how you feel the world around you because of the brain. Okay. For example, so there's a process. There's a process for the brain. See, I'll just give you the small example of how brain works, or what is actually the process of that brain. Okay. So what is actually a process? For example, I'll just give you the example. For example, you have a matchbox. Okay. Simple matchbox. You can just take that matchbox. You can just take that matchbox. Just take a one matchstick and burn that matchstick. What you can do? You can just burn that matchstick. Next, you have to take that burning matchstick, or you can just take that flame near to your finger, not much near, in some distance. What will happen? Try to understand the example. You have a matchbox, take a matchstick, burn that matchstick, take that flame near to your finger, not much near. Okay, what will happen? Your finger start feeling some heat. Okay, then when you start decreasing the distance between your finger and the flame, what will happen? Your finger started feeling some more heat. Okay, then he sends the information to the brain. What brain will do? Brain analyze your information, or brain analyze it whether your finger to be going to be burned or not. If it will going to be burned, brain gives the instruction to the hand. The hand take the actions. Whether if your finger is going to be burned, your hand give the instruction. Your brain gives the instruction to the hand. Just take it out. Otherwise, your finger will be burned. So, what is actually a process? The process is, first thing is a sense, or you can call it as input. First thing is a input, or you can call it as sense. The second one is a brain, or you can call it as a process. And the third one is a output. So this is a process, like how brain works, or how brain interacts with the other thing around you in the world. Okay. So the basic thing is this one. This is the basic process of how things works, or how human body works. So I have a question for you. Write it down your answer in the comment section. How many senses do we have in our human body? I'm just repeating this term, or I'm just repeating this question. how many senses do we have in our human body? I'll give you the answer after some time. You will take the 5 minutes. I'll just give you after explaining this slide and the next slide. After I'll give you the answer. So if you know how many senses we have in our body, you can just write it down in the comment section. No. So next thing, this is an actual process. What actually human body follows, or what actually our robot follows, or what actually our electronics development board, or what actually electronics projects follows. Okay, so this is the process. First thing is a input one, the second one is a process, and the third one is a output. Okay, input called as, you can call it as, sometime you can call it as sensors. Process you can call this brain, or you can call this electronic development board. When we're talking about the electronics thing, we'll call it as the electronics development board. When we're talking about the human body, you can call it the brain. The next one is the output term. So this is the basic process of how things happen. Okay, I'll just show you how the brain works, or where we can use the electronic boards or electronic development boards, or where we use the electronic brains. What are actually the application, or how technology changes by using this electronics development boards and then electronics things. So watch this video. I'll just give you the answer about this video. After this video, I'll just give you the answer about that question. There are how many senses we have in our human body. Okay.
In your skull with tiny wires.
The small, easy-to-install brain-computer interface could be used to expand the capabilities of humans, changing the way we interact with technology and treat neural and mobility issues. Yet the goals of the company speaks to a potential problem in the future: artificial intelligence. Musk has been very vocal about his fear of artificial intelligence, believing AI could one day overshadow the human race. Musk's inevitable transhumanist goal of augmenting intelligence and abilities may be necessary if we are to compete with advanced artificial intelligence. However, Neuralink's team still has a long way to go before the emergence of AI-human hybrids. The tech company still has a lot of bureaucratic, ethical, and technological hurdles to cross. If Musk's companies accomplish half of what they claim, we could see the emergence of one of the most significant technologies in human history. But how does it work? Simply put, Neuralink is a technology that can help humans interact with machines using their brains. The company's eventual aim is to further develop brain-computer interfaces to the point where one can be installed in a doctor's office. Let's say you opted in to go in for a
So you can see how the brain works, or where we can use these things, or how this is very useful to learn how to use that electronics development board, or where to use these things. So this is the basic things. You, like my motto to show you this video, to you can just observe the things, will develop these things. Okay, just try to imagine the things, or develop the things in your mind. What are actually things are will happen, or what actually things will do, okay, by using these brains. Then we'll see how to use the brain, or what is actually a brain, over the process to develop the new things by using the brain.
Neuralink procedure. What would that look like? Neuralink wants to make the installation of your brain-computer interface painless and quick, as easy as LASIK surgery. The design has changed significantly and now resembles a small coin around 8 millimeters in diameter, which houses electrodes that are about 1/20th the thickness of a strand of hair. To install the Neuralink, a tiny piece of skull is removed and the Neuralink is slotted in to sit. The Neuralink team has created will only leave a tiny scar and include all the sensors one would expect in a smartwatch. Once installed, the device will be able to send and receive electrical signals through your brain.
Sorry. So you can just see how the brain is powerful, or how is it useful for our future products or our future technology. So this is about the brief about the your electronic brains. Now you can tell your board what is actually board does is you can tell your board what to do by sending a set of instructions, or you can call it as commands, to the microcontroller on the board. As I told you earlier, what is actually a development boards based on is all based on the microcontrollers. Okay, so microcontroller is a tiny board, or you can call it as a tiny IC, is an integrated circuit. You can place as per your brain. So it works as a brain. So how the brain works? So you can just give the information or the set of the instruction to the brain how the thing will happen. Okay. For example, if you want to make a line follower robot, what is actually a line follower robot? That follows the line. For example, I will make a line, a path from my home to your school. Okay, so I just make a line. Now I want I want to make a robot to follow that line and that tell me how to go to your school. Okay, or how to go to my school or like my office. You can call that. So how I'll program that robot. I'll just give you the instruction of the robots. First, you have to go that 1 kilometer to the straight, then turn right, go to the 500 meter, as same as a Google map, for example. So you have to give the some instruction to the board, or you have to give to the commands to the board. For example, if you can tell your board to turn off the light when it's morning, turn off the light when it's morning, and the turn it on at night. So this is an instruction you have to give. You have to give to the brain for like processing anything. Okay. Now, the next thing is a types of boards. So how many types of boards available to use as a electronics development board? You can see in the screen, there's a lot of types of the boards available. You can use anyone for your project, for your purpose, for your application. You can try it, you can learn the things. Okay. So for example, first one is Arduino UNO. So what is actually a Arduino? Arduino is an open source electronic platform. It's an open source electronic platform based on the software and the hardware too. And it's very easy to use. So Arduino is a electronics development board. It's all based on software and the hardware both. But it's very easy to use. So different types of Arduinos are available in the market. You can see Arduino Uno, this is a development board. Arduino Leonardo is also a development board. Arduino Duo, Yin, Tree Micro, Robot, you can see Lilipad, Mega, Mini, Nano. Okay, so this is all types of the boards. Okay, types of the electronic boards. But what is actually a difference between this board? So these all boards are depends on the different microcontrollers, or it's all depends on you the application. If you want a board for the bigger application, you want a mega one. If you want for the smaller one, you can use the micro and the nano one. So it's all depends. The function of the board will be the same. It's all the main brain. It's all the electronics brain. But it depends where to use. It's all depends on your application. It's all depends on your use. So now we'll see the one of the board, as I told you, is Arduino. So what is a Arduino? So basically Arduino is a, as I told you, Arduino is a hardware and the software board. It's an electronic board, electronics development board, and it's the main thing is easy to use. Okay, so this is, so we'll talk first about one of the most important board in all electronics development board, and I also used very this board. So I just recommended you to try starting the thing, like start making the things or start making the project by using this small or like this electronics development board, we can call it as Arduino Uno. Arduino Uno, you can see in the screen. I'll just show you the small video of the Arduino board, what the things are there in the Arduino board. Arduino Uno, I will explain you everything, every pin and every point after that video. You can watch. So first thing, sorry. So you can see, first thing is that this one, this is a microcontroller. As I told you earlier, every electronics development board is based on the microcontroller. So this is a microcontroller of Arduino Uno. This is are the pins. So this is the different parts of the Arduino hardware, Arduino Uno hardware part. You can see. Now, as I told you earlier, also the types of the Arduino board, same as Arduino Uno, Layered Omega. It's all depends on your application and what actually you are going to be make. So now, why Arduino? If you have also question, you can write it down in the comment section. Okay, I skipped one thing. Okay, your answer. So what's the actually answer about how many senses we have in our body? So in our human body, we have the five senses. I think some of you also like write it down the correct answer, five senses. Now, next question is write it down the name of the five senses. The first question is all about how many senses. You all, like some of you, give the right answer of that five senses. Yes, we have a five senses in our human body. Now, the next task of you is write it down the name of the five senses. I'll give you the answer about this question in the last. Okay. Now, continue session. Now, the question is why Arduino? Why I use Arduino, why you use Arduino as an electronics development board. Okay, because the brain is costly, but the Arduino is inexpensive. Okay, it's a cost effective. You can call it as a cost effective because whenever you are going to be making any project, first of all, you will calculate the cost of your project. If it is too much, you're not able to do. Sometimes I also, sometimes everyone else. But if you have a Arduino board, so you have an advantage because it's inexpensive, or you can call it as a cost effective. The next one, easy to program. Arduino is very easy to program. Arduino is very easy to write a program for any project. Then the third thing is easy to learn new things. You have a lot of things are there in the Arduino. Now the hardware part of the Arduino Uno is like first thing, hardware is a microcontroller chip. You can see in the image it written as microchip at mega 3 to 8. It is a brain of any hardware part. The power supply and the USB and the input output ports I will show you in the next slide. So this is the pin diagram, you can call it as the diagram of the Arduino Uno. I'll show you one by one about the things. So we can see in the top side, you can just see my cursor also. You can see here we have a 0 to 13 pins. Total 14, 4 pins of digital input and output pins. So we have 14 digital pins. Next, we can see in the inside, we have a built-in LEDs. You can write it C. Here is it LTXRX. This is the inbuilt LEDs. We have a reset button here. USB port for connection of your board to your PC. Voltage regulator. Power port for supplying a power to the Arduino Uno. You have a power and the ground pins. You can see here the written as voltage input. The 2 pin is for ground. You can call it negative. 5 volt and the 3.3 volt, because of the some components work in the 5 volt power, or some components wants the 3.3 volt power supply. And We have a total 6 analog pins to A0 to A5. You can see is the analog input pin, is the digital pins. So total we have a 14 digital input output pins. The next we have built-in LEDs, reset button, USB port, power ports and power pins also, power and the ground pins, and we have analog pins. I'll explain you all about the pins also. I'll explain you how to use this pin, what is the use of the digital pins, what is the use of the analog pins. We'll see in the upcoming session or in this session. Move on to the next slide. See, this is a descriptive view. So all description of the board of the Arduino Uno. You can see we have a TX pin, RX pins, interrupt. So this is very description. Okay, you can see everything in this image. What actually things, every component, every pin, description of every pin. The pin number 10 is a slave select, master out, slave in. This is the pin about all the things. So now the time for the Arduino working using Tinkercad. So before that, I will just give you the brief about the session. You'll see uh, the types of electronic development board. What is actually a development board? What is actually a Arduino board? Why we use the Arduino board, or why it's very helpful for us. Okay. Then we'll see. We saw the Arduino Uno. What is actually a Arduino Uno? The hardware part of the Arduino Uno, the pins and all. The next thing we'll see the Arduino working using Tinkercad. How to use Arduino, or how actually Arduino works. We will see in the Tinkercad session. Okay. Hope you all joined in the Tinkercad. You logged in yourself in the Tinkercad. So please open your browser. Please open your browser, search it about www.tinkercad.com. Like expecting you all are having your own account, as I given you the link in the last session, your first session, in the basic of electronics session. Now, after opening the Tinkercad, go to the circuit parts. So create your new circuit. So as you know, after clicking on the create new circuit, you have a workplace here. Is it a workplace for you? Okay. Now I'll show you the actual hardware part of the Arduino Uno. You can see in the screen, or in my video side, you can see this is a Arduino Uno thing. This is how Arduino hardware looks like in the real time. I'll just show you the image, but this is a real or the physical hardware part of Arduino Uno. Okay, now if you want to make something by using the brain, so this Arduino hardware also you can call it as the electronic development board. So if you want to control anything, as I told you earlier, we have a process input, brain, and the output. So if you want to control anything by using the brain, so we'll see how to control that things by using this Arduino Uno hardware board. So we'll see, first of all, we'll see how to blink a LED. So what is the process of blink? First of all, just remember one thing, clear it out everything in your mind first. How to clear it in your mind? Just write it down, the flow or the instructions or the step-by-step process, what actually we are going to be. Okay, so first you can see in the right side you have, as you know, the all components available. You can change the component basics to the all. Now what actually we are going to be make? We are going to be make a blinking project using Arduino electronics development board. So first of all, select a Arduino board. See, in the microcontrollers part, you have that Arduino UNO thing. You have select and drag and drop it here. See, this is a Arduino UNO board. Now, what actually we are going to make? We are going to make a LED blinking project. What? LED blinking. Will blink the LED in continuous form. What is actually blinking? On, off, on, off. And on, off in the continuous rotation is called as a blinking. On, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. But first of all, clear the thing. On for some period of time, then off some period of time. That's why you need a brain to understand the process. Okay, if you don't want to turn on and off continuously, you need a switch. You can just switch on the button, it will on. If you switch off the button, it will off. But if you want to blink a LED or the light in the continuously form, so you need a brain to understand the process. That's why we need the Arduino hardware part or Arduino electronics development board. Okay, now we have a brain. Now what we want? We want a LED. So search it for the LED. This is a LED. Fine. So now, as I told you earlier, whenever you are going to be use a LED, use a resistor in between the LED and the power source, so it will glow very properly. Otherwise, it's a more chance to like damage. It will damage your LED. So it's more chance. So first of all, if you using a LED, you have to use a resistor also. So select a resistor to. Now, as you know, we have a two leads in LED. One is anode, that is a positive, and the second one is a cathode. Okay, so as you know, we are connecting this resistor in the positive side. I have just connected to the positive side. Now, listen carefully. Every time you have to connect the positive side of the LED into the digital pins of the Arduino UNO. Why? Because we are doing the digital thing. What is a digital thing? It's a binary number. 1 or 0 is a digital thing. Or what actually we are doing? The LED blinking. Whenever LED turned on, it will be 1. Whenever LED turned off, it will be 0. So this is a digital thing. That's why we are connecting this LED into the digital pins of the Arduino UNO. Okay, so now you have a 0 to the 13 pin list. You have a total 14 pins of digital. You can use anyone. I'm connecting this into the 5 number pin. Okay, now the second is a ground one. Okay, there's a negative one. You have to connect this pin to the ground pin. Simply you have to click on that pin. It will give you this wire one. It will show you the wire. You can simply connect the wire from the one point to the another point. Okay, so what I did, I have just connected the positive side with the resistor and the digital pin of the Arduino UNO. And the next one, I have connected the negative or the ground pin of the LED to the ground of the Arduino. Okay. So first thing is the connection part. Now we're done with the connection part, or we're done for the hardware things. Now the next thing is a programming one, the code thing, the coding part. You have to give the instruction to the board. Now, as I told you earlier, if you want to control anything, you have to give the instruction or the command to the microcontroller or to the electronics development board. So now you can see in the right side of the top, it's written as the code. You can click on the code. You can see here. So here you have a two types of option for doing the coding part. You can see first thing a block. You click on the block, it will show you the more options. You have an option block Then you have a block and text and the text also. So first of all, we'll see the block coding. Okay, first of all, we'll start developing the process in our brain first, how to develop a algorithm, how to make an algorithm. Then we will move on to the text part of the coding. Okay, so what is a block coding? It's a visual programming language. You can see it made you the block. You have to use this block and program your components. So what we'll do here, we'll program our LED, or we program our LED to blink on and off, or to blink. We will use this blocks. So what you have to do first, you can see in the output side you have a different types of blocks. For the output purpose, see, LED will give us output. It's a on and off. So you have to use the output block. If you want to control something, you can use a control block. For the input purpose, you have an input block. For the match functions, variables, notations, you have a different types of block. We'll do the one by one the project, then you will know better how to use, or what is actually the use of that blocks. Okay, so I'm just going to connect you with that things, or I'm just going to program this LED for a purpose of on and the off. So first of all, you have to select this block, set pin to high. What actually written here is it set pin 0 to high. High means on, low means off, or you can call it as 1 means high or 0 means low. So if you want to see, I'll show you the physical part of the things as I show you the Arduino UNO. So you can see this is a Arduino UNO hardware part, as I show you earlier also. This is a LED. Okay, so this is a physical LED part. As I told you, the two leads are there in the LED. You can see it is visible. Okay, so one is a long lead and the second one is a short lead. Okay, so long one is a positive one and the short one is a negative one. So what I did, okay, I just connect this long one with the use of resistor and connect it to the fifth number pin. I'll show you the example of the resistor to how resistor looks like. You can see this is this very small thing. You can see this is a resistor. This is a LED. This is a resistor. So what I did, I just connected this the long lead to this resistor and just connect it to the fifth number of digital pin of the Arduino Uno, and the negative one, the ground one, to the ground of the Arduino. Now we are writing the code to controlling this thing. So first of all, I just selected a set pin to high. So what actually set pin? So first of all, you have to set the pin where you have connected your component. So where you have connected this LED into the digital pin, you just have connected it to the fifth number of digital pin. So what you have to do, you have to change this 0 number pin to the 5 number pin. Okay. So this is, first of all, select the pin that I have just selected the pin number 5 to the high. Means now your LED will turn on because you have connected your LED into the fifth number pin. Okay. Now high means on. So now your LED will turn on. The next thing, what delay you want, or like the time for the glowing of your LED, that blinking. So now you have to go to the control and select a wait time. See, so first thing is a set 5 to high. Okay, now your LED will turn on, but for how much time, like the time period of the like blinking of the LED is, like turn on the LEDs, I have just given the 1 second. It's all depends on you. You can, if you want to change the second to the millisecond, you can change it. If you want to change the Okay, then we'll change it to the 2 seconds. So now your LED will turn on for the 2 seconds. Okay, so now LED on is done. Now you have to turn off the LED also. Again, go to the output, select the same block, change pin as same as 5 number pin. Now, what you have to do, you have to change this high to the low. Now, your LED will turn off. First, your LED will turn on for 2 seconds. Now your LED will turn off. But here also you want some delay. So now again go to the control, select a delay. That's it. So now your LED will turn on for 2 seconds, turn off for 1 second. So 2 second on, 1 second off, 2 second on, 1 second off. So it will comes to the continuation. Okay. So after writing this code, you have to start the simulation. Now you can see your LED will turn on for 2 seconds, turn off for 2 seconds, or 1 second. 2 second on, 1 second off, 2 second on, 1 second off. So it will go continuously. Okay. So who is going to control this thing? Your brain. So it's all about your brain. Okay, that controls the thing, that's all about the electronics development board that controls the thing. So this is the basic thing. So now if you want to connect the series of like number of LEDs with this board, so for that purpose you need a breadboard. See, this is a breadboard. This is a breadboard. So if you want to connect the number of components with the Arduino, we'll use the breadboard. So now do one thing. First of all, you can connect this LED to this. Sorry for the untrap. So if you want to connect more than one LED, now you have to use a breadboard terms. So I'll just explain you what is actually a breadboard. I'll show you the physical of model of the breadboard. So you can see here, this is a breadboard. Okay, so this is how it looks like in physically. You can see in the screen. This is a breadboard. So you can see here it is written as plus and the minus. So plus is a positive and the minus is a negative as a ground. So if you want to connect the things, you can see this is connected together. You can see all lines are connected together. If you connect a LED here, one LED, if you connect a second LED here, that means the both LED is connected together, it will not work. Okay. Then this is a negative thing. So these pins are connected together. You can see this green one showing you this line. And this pin is connected together is in this direction. So this pin is connected in the X direction. And this pin is connected in the Y direction. You can see this direction. So this first pin is connected together. The second pin is also this 5 pins. So this is the breadboard, a simple breadboard. I'll just show you how to connect the things here. You can see, you can just delete this thing. Connect this LED into the breadboard. So see, I'm just connected. I'm connecting this LED to the, you can see, into the 5 or 6 number pin. Correct? 5 or 6 number. This is one LED. Now I'm going to select the second LED also. So this is the second LED. So I'm connecting this LED. The ninth or 10th number pin.